Andrew, Heather, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. I'd love to just jump in on this vaccine thing because it's totally ridiculous.
That's called deflecting, I think.
Diplomatic, my friend, diplomatic.
All right, so jump in on this. Jump in on the vaccines. Jump in on the security implications of really erasing President Trump's legacy.
Yeah. Look, all the heavy lifting was done by President Trump and his team. We all know that. They found the vaccine. They shepherded it through. I was in the Oval Office on multiple occasions where we had to interrupt an intel briefing because there was an urgent call from a CEO or somebody involved in Operation Warp Speed, and President Trump wanted to keep it on track. So every meeting would stop and he would take all of the calls to keep it moving. Look, what Joe Biden is doing is akin to going into the presidential Amazon Prime account and pressing reorder. And I guess what we can do is compliment President Biden for understanding that we just need to keep the process going and the states need to keep getting the vaccine. But they didn't do anything on finding the vaccine. They didn't do anything to work through the bureaucracy. They didn't do anything other than continue what President Trump had set up. So let's applaud President Biden for keeping going what President Trump set up. So reordering, great accomplishment.
Right.
Keep it going, President Biden.
Yeah, exactly.
So in your home state of California, Democratic policies as a whole are really seeing a referendum in California. From rolling blackouts to strict lockdowns, are we getting a preview of how the nation would look under this presidency in a few years?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Andrew. I would say about 9 or 10 years ago, many Republicans in California, after being wiped out, we weren't winning any statewide elections. Identity politics was rampant in the state. About 9 or 10 years ago, Republicans got together and they said, you know what, let's let the Democrats implement some of these crazy ideas. Let's let them run us off the cliff. Let's stop stopping them. And what we're seeing now, I think in a post-COVID world, you really saw that process speed up. Churches shut down, businesses shut down, Zoom school became the only way here in California. And now we have a governor who just literally mismanages not only the COVID response, but we have rolling blackouts. We're telling people to not water their lawns because we don't have enough water, yet we live on an ocean in California. I mean, I could just go on and on about these far left policies. Here's one example. The rest of the country is participating in this explosion of liquid natural gas. The U.S. economy is humming because of U.S. LNG, yet not a single Democratic governor on the entire West Coast is allowing an LNG terminal, which means we can't go and supply China, which becomes this national security crisis. If we are trying to get off Middle East oil and we're able to have U.S. LNG, it seems like a no-brainer to be able to supply, start exporting LNG to China or to Asia. And yet we can't do it simply because Democratic governors won't put a terminal, an LNG terminal, somewhere between Washington, Oregon, or the entire California coast. Yeah. It's really outrageous.
Yeah, a national security crisis on that front, and then we have the national security crisis with the border and that situation that we're going to talk a little bit more about as well. You sounded an awful lot like a California governor there to me. I don't know. Sounded like it.
Well, look, let me just say that we have like about 4 or 5 days left. We have till March 17th in order to get signatures. I know the national media keep reporting that we've, reached more than 2 million signatures, which is true, but we need 1.5 million verified. I'm not quite convinced yet that the 250,000 activists in California who have been collecting signatures since last summer are going to be able to see this process come to fruition unless we continue receiving these signatures. People still have time. If you live in California, go to recallgavin2020.com, sign it, get it in, because we still think that the one party that controls California that's going to verify the signatures